You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
There's one thing they don't tell you about time. See, everyone's excited to celebrate the New Year's. But what they don't know, the new year is really the resetting of the clock. Because you've all been trapped in time. And you notice there was a movie that came out that was called A Wrinkle in Time. And you've all been trapped in time capsules, been encapsulated, and capsules are in the shape of pods. That's why you have an iPod, and the I is the 9th letter of the alphabet. All been born into time, trapped in time. Now there's a movie also called In Time, and you notice in the movie In Time there were different time zones. And each time they crossed a time zone, they had to pay a fee. And the fee wasn't money, it was time. So they had to give up a piece of their lifespan in order to cross the barrier. And this is the real trap. Each time you cross this barrier, you lose a little bit of your lifespan. That's why people suffer from jet lag. It is the lag, the reason why you call it a lag, because you just had time taken off of your timeline, which is your lifespan, right? Your lifeline. And there's a commercial, better get Lifeline. They're playing a cruel, sick joke on you. It went over your head. And the reason why it went over your head is because you're at a lower frequency. And the frequency where you need, where everything is happening is not on your particular wavelength, right? You all been trapped in time. The earth is a giant clock. The sun is the long hand and the moon is the short hand. And this is the truth of where you live, right? Now notice, in one part of the earth is divided into sections. And on the bigger, on the macro scale, the earth is divided into 2 sections. And one side, and the sections is divided straight in the middle. And you call that the equator, which is right in the middle. And the equator means equal. So equator means equal. And the reason why it's equal, because the sides are divided symmetrically in half, making 2 perfect halves, and they're equal in size and measurement. That's why it's called the equator, because it's equal to each other. Now the first side, the first half of the planet is hot, and the second side is cold, right? The cold side, you have North America, which includes Canada, Alaska. You have China, Russia, Greenland, Iceland, and all the islands surrounding that. That's the cold side, right? And then you got parts of Europe, right? Europe, that's all on the cold side. And then on the hot side of the planet, you have Africa, Mexico, Madagascar, Australia, part of the Middle East, right? Brazil, right? All the Caribbean islands. Notice on this particular side of the so-called planet is always day. It's always sunny. It's always day, and you rarely ever get winter. Excuse me, that's the word I'm looking for. So you don't get winter. On the other side, you get winter, and it's predominantly ruled by cold and darkness. On the other side of the hemisphere, right? On the other side of the globe, the other side, right, is always warm. And this is what you call the tropics, right? Notice certain foods only grow in the tropics. Only certain plants and vegetation grow in the tropics. And in the tropics, right, you have vibrant colors, green. Everything is green. This is where your rainforests are, right? You got green, you got different color, lots of species. This is where the most life is, right? And then on the colder side of the planet, like in Russia, China, you have a very small, not a large variety of life and even plant life, right? This is where your what people would call so-called Christmas trees, whatever. These are where these type of trees come from. In this particular region, these trees grow in the colder region. Notice Caucasians came from Europe because in Europe is always cold and is always dark. So they wouldn't suffer from sunburn or suntan, right? Notice during history when the so-called Spanish to the other side of the earth, they called it the New World because they've never been there before, because they've only been in their respective region, in their respective zone, which was geared for them and their body type. Because notice every group of species on the planet lives in an environment that is suitable to their genes. This is called adaptation or adaptation. So every species of group of living beings on the planet, they adapt to their environment and their environment adapts to them. So when you step outside your environment, you are either going to change the new environment that you're in, or the new environment is going to change you. So you're either going to succumb to the new environment, or you're going to terraform the new environment. Either way, something's going to happen, because energy doesn't sit still, right? So when the Caucasians came on this side of the planet, or the plane, this side was warm. This is why a lot of Caucasians die right now they suffer from skin cancer, melanoma, right? And all types of skin related diseases, because their biology is not adapted to be in the sun. They are built to be in the colder, dark regions. This is where your whole folklore of vampires and werewolves and all the creatures of the night, the dark, the night side of the planet. Then you have the day side of the planet. And then you have the sun, which rotates around the whole thing. And then you have the moon, which rotates around the whole thing. So it's in perfect symmetrical balance, where you have one side that's always hot, one side is always cold, and then you have a little bit of the cold coming into the hot zone, and then you have a little bit of the hot coming into the cold zone. So it's like a perfect balance, what you would call a yin-yang, or the 69, or the Pisces, or the two fish circling each other. This is perfect balance. It's homeostasis, right? Balance, neutral, right? Now, each time you move from one side of the planet or from another part of the planet to another, you are entering into a different zone. Each zone is governed by different properties and different physics, but the physics pretty much all obey the universal laws. Inside of that universal law, each zone has its own particular energy signature, and the energy signature may express itself in a different way And this is why you have certain parts of the planet where gravity may not be the same so-called gravity, or things are so-called peculiar in that particular zone, right? Or you may have the so-called Bermuda Triangle where things tend to disappear and all these things like that. This is why people suffer from jet lag, and why you can go from one side of the planet to another. You can leave at like 10 a.m. in the US, and then you can fly and get to another place and it's a different time. And it's not like you stopped and the plane stopped in midair and just waited in midair for the time to move. The plane was always continuously moving, but yet somehow a 2-hour flight, let's just say, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's just say it takes you 2 hours to fly from California, United States, Vegas. I'm making this up. And let's just say, so you should arrive to Las Vegas at 12 p.m. So if you, assuming you left 10 a.m. California, you should arrive Las Vegas 12 p.m. I'm making this up, by the way. Now let's just say you leave, get on the plane 10 a.m. and leave. But then when you get to Las Vegas, it's 3 o'clock p.m. But according to your watch, it was only 2 hours that went by. But when you get in that particular zone, it is now a different time. The reason why is because that particular part of the plane or the planet had its own zone, meaning its own spatial dimension, meaning its own universe. So each time you travel, you're traveling to different universes. This is why the people are so different, the language is so different, the culture is so different, the weather is so different, the plants are so different, the animals are different, the air is different, the water is different. Even the water, when you look at the water, the Atlantic is different from the Pacific, and the Pacific is different from the Baltic, and the Baltic is different from the Mediterranean is different from the Indian Ocean, and so on and so forth. And each ocean has its own composition of different minerals, is a home to different types of beings, and each of these beings live in a particular zone that is suitable to them, because the planet Earth is a breeding ground for different races or different races of people. So all this nonsense people are talking about how we all the same is complete bull. How are we all the same when clearly one group of people has a different skin color than the others? That alone tells you different hair type, different body structure, different voice, different testosterone levels, different organs in different spots. One group of people has pineal glands, the other really doesn't. One group of people have slanted eyes, the other doesn't. Excuse me. One group of people has their hair standing up, another doesn't, because we are literally coming from different origins. We live on different spatial dimensions on the same plane. So it's like portals from different places that all lead to the same point or the same spot, which is the planet Earth, which is a trap. It's a time trap for different souls or different beings that get trapped here in time because they get caught by the light. The light attracts them in, it flies to a flame or to a light, and the trees and everything caught us, and then we got caught. We all trapped in time. Everything we do is in time. Time for work. for bed. Time to eat. Time to clean up. Time to go shopping. Time for this. Time for that. What time is it? Oh, I gotta get to work on time. I'm gonna be late. Everything is ruled by time because we are slaves. Slaves run by a computer system, which aka the Matrix. And within the Matrix, the governing program is time. So everything here is the overall general ruler of everything is time. Because even without the Matrix, we're still governed by cycles. And these cycles is governed by time. The cycle is time. Because a clock is a circle and it goes in a circle and it's a cycle. Every 12 hours it resets. Every 12 hours it resets. Every 12 months it resets. Right? January through December, 12 months, comes back around, full circle, resets. Full circle. Full circle is 360 degrees. And we have 365 days, and those extra 5 days was added to throw people off time. This is why everyone's living in a distorted reality, because we're not living within our natural time. We fell from heaven. We fell from our natural time. We're off schedule. We're off our natural cycle. Right? Just like a woman's off her period, she's off her cycle, so everything is thrown off balance. A circle, a clock is 360 degrees. And let's just say you had a clock which started at 12. You do a full swing, it comes right back to 12, which is what you call a New Year's. And notice, every New Year, you have a resolution. And the word resolution starts with an R-E. And R-E means to redo, to repeat. So you have a resolution every year, because every year you do the same thing and you have this same resolution. Oh, my resolution is to do this. My resolution is to do that. How come you never have a solution, which is a absolute end to your problem or your situation? But if you have a resolution, that means you're going to repeat yourself. And you're going to be trapped in a loop, trapped in time, or trapped in a carnation cycle. A reincarnation, religion, repeat, redo, resolution, resolution. See, it's this redoing, this recurrence, these redundancies. You're repeating yourself. You're doing the same things over and over and over and over and over and over. You die, you come back. You die, you come back. You die, you come back. Your memory get wiped, come back in a new body. Memory gets wiped, come back in a new body. And you just keep doing the same thing, all while chasing the dollar, being ruled by time, chasing the dollar. Trying to keep up with the Joneses. And you never keep up with the Joneses because you're not in sync with them. You're out of time. That's why the Joneses are always ahead, because they're in a different timeline. See, you gotta have the latest this, the latest that. See, the latest technology. Notice the word late has to deal with time. Because when you're running late for work, you can get fired. Late signifies something derogatory. So when you have the latest technology, you have something that's late. You get it? This is why the military's technology is almost 300, 400, 500 years in the future ahead of us. And the technology we're getting is old, washed out technology that the elites, the rich people have already played with, used, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, already did that already. This is why we have the latest technology. The old technology, get it? Late, because it's late, meaning it is old. When something is late, it is past its time, right? It expired, right? Something that's expired is past its time. If you're supposed to be at work at 10 a.m. and you get there at 10:30, you are past the time. Cutting edge technology, the latest technology. See, they're tricking you with these words. Keep getting trapped up, caught up in the word game, getting caught caught up in time. This is why they had that movie, In Time, Trapped in Time. And the longitude, latitude of the planet is what you refer to as the zones, the time zones itself. They're showing you the time zones, which is the longitude and latitude lines. And notice in the word longitude, you have the word long, longitude, longitude, and the word long I, and the I is you, because the I represents ninth letter. Long I tude, and the word tude has to do with attitude, mind, with a mindset. So each time zone, actually governs and dictates your actual psyche, your attitude. Each time you move into a different time zone, you feel a different emotion. This is why when people go on vacation, they feel relieved. The reason why you feel relieved when you go on vacation, even, let's just say, even if you didn't even take a trip, like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Caribbean, to the islands, or I'm gonna go, somewhere I've never been, even if you just went to another state, or just a couple of hours away, even just by doing that, it's a relief. You feel better because you travel outside of your time zone. And remember, each time zone is governed by a different emotion. It is governed by a different color, a different chakra, a different feeling. So sometimes being immersed in the same feeling all day, the same frequency, it makes you feel down because, people like variety, right? We like to experience different emotions. We don't want to have everything the same all the time. So when people travel or they go on vacation, they come back and they feel relieved. They feel de-stressed because they got a chance to experience a different emotion and to relieve themselves of that frequency that they were currently immersed in all day. So let's just say you live in a particular part of the planet where the governing frequency is the root chakra, and everyone in this particular time zone is always in their lower self. And then they take a trip to, let's say, somewhere tropical where it's governed by the higher mind, where the main governing chakra is the third eye. When they come back, they're going to have a burst of energy. Not only that, they're going to have more clarity on whatever problems they were having. They're going to have more energy in the third eye region of their body. This is why it's important to travel the plane or the planet, is because you get a chance to open up all your different chakras and to experience life at all different angles or aspects. And it makes you more well-rounded, right? And it's funny how whenever you go to a school or you go to, you meet somebody who's been around a lot of different cultures, you always say this person is well-rounded. And the reason why you say the word rounded, because the word round represents a circle, and the circle represents a plane, the plane represents the clock, which means you've been around the clock, which means you're well-rounded because you're not ignorant. You understand different time zones, and you respect the different energies of the time zones. So you understand each time zone, and this is what makes you a wise person. You notice whenever you see the old sages, right, with the long white beards, I'm just painting a picture, and they got this staff, and they're like really powerful, and they live somewhere in the mountain or some cave, and people come to them for advice, and then when it's like a ultimate threat, they save the day, and they're like wise old sages, right, and they know a lot. The reason why, because they had a lot of experiences during their lifetime, and they acquired a lot of knowledge from traveling the globe and learning different things and obtaining the knowledge, because they didn't stay in one spot. This is why people who stay in one area their whole life, they are considered ignorant and stagnant because they're not moving around. So if you live in the hood, you was born in the hood, and you lived in the hood your whole life and you never been nowhere, when you come off to other people, you come off as ignorant. And someone of low intelligence, low IQ, because they can clearly see you have no energy from any other place, and you're radiating the energy of what's around your environment. That's why people say you're a product of your environment, because you are a product of the energy that you're immersed in, and you've never been anywhere else, so you can't even experience the energy or the emotion of your own self, because you don't even know what that even feels like, because you've never been anywhere to even know what another experience feels like. You get what I'm saying? So in order for you to be a person who's able to radiate different frequencies of energy, you have to first experience the different levels of energy. You have to go into yourself. Remember, this plane is part of you too. You are the plane, and the plane is you. This is why when you breathe out oxygen, when you breathe in oxygen and you breathe out carbon dioxide, the plants breathe in the carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. So the plants need you and you need the plants. It's a symbiotic relationship, a symbiosis, a perfect balance. Again, going back to what I was saying, it's a perfect balance with nature, because you are an adaptation of nature, and nature's an adaptation of you. And you are in perfect balance with your particular time zone. Now, going back to particular black people, the reason why black people are special over all other people, and why focus has always been on us, and why we the only ones that have been enslaved, etc., is because we're not limited to one particular time zone on the planet. We can live in any time zone and thrive. However, we do our best when we live in the day side of the plane, because this is the time zone that best, or the energy that best expresses our nature, which is to be bright, vibrant, and full of life, full of energy. This is why they call us children of the sun, because we live on the side of the planet where it's constantly sunny and day, and we need that to recharge our bodies, which is a electrical battery or conductor of energy. This is why we need the sun's light to charge us up, just like a solar battery or solar powered battery. This is why in the movie The Matrix, they said, Neo, you've been a slave your whole life, and all to turn you into a battery. Anyway, I'm gonna end it there. I don't want to talk too long. It's only been like 30 minutes. Just wanted to say that, just to paint a picture and show you the truth of where you live, because people don't even know where they live, who they are, where they came from. Like, people, when I say people are lost, see, people getting stuck. The biggest trap I noticed, the biggest trap, even more big than time itself, besides religion, because religion is like a huge time trap, time loop. But the biggest trap is history. And even in the word history, you have the word his story. So it's someone else's version of what really happened that didn't really happen. The biggest trap is people getting stuck on history, especially black people. When black people finally waking up and they're starting to realize the nature of the cage, they get caught in this history trap. Oh, you're ancient Egyptians and this, that, the third, blah, 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 blah. You know, and they don't understand the true meaning, the true symbology behind what it is that they actually study, because they're getting caught up in the physical aspect. Oh, the Kushites and they, you know, and this, that, and third, and they're getting caught up with names and dates, and you know, and these people, they move from this part of the region to there, and that's not important in the grand scheme of things. It's important, yes. Studying history is like buying a Lamborghini, because it's a lot of fluff. You get what I'm saying? It's a lot of discrepancies and errors, fluff, and you need to be studying the source of where you came from, which is outside the physical realm. You get what I'm saying? Which is the mind, which is, you know, principles and the self, the higher self, and things like that. And start studying the nature of reality and go inwards and not outwards. Because if you're looking at history, you're looking at something that's outside of you. Because it's a version of something that didn't. I mean, it's a version of something that happened that didn't really happen. Because it's a lie. That's why it's called a version. It's been edited. And it's something that's outside of you. I'd like to get straight to the source. And if you got that much time, then go right ahead. What are you doing to reach a decision? That's what it's about. It's important to study history, don't get me wrong. I'm vegan. Okay. And do you understand who you are? Do you know who's ruling this earth, where you are, what happens after you die? Well, you know what I'm saying? Do you know any of these things? No. Do you know how to meditate? Do you know how to go to the astral realm? Do you know how to control energy? Do you know the words? Do you know magic? Do you know how to vibrate on high enough? Do you know how to control your chi? Do you know how to see incorporeal beings? Do you know what I'm saying? This is what you should supposed to be trying to attain. Real Superman powers. Remember, everything that we're dealing with is dealing in the spiritual. So anyway, with that being said, peace. I don't want to say Happy New Year's because all that you're celebrating is the resetting of the clock, which is you're still trapped in the clock. You're still trapped in the clock.
Holding it down. Check it out.
You're still trapped in the clock.
Holding on to advance for y'all.
Baby, with me.